Hey guys, it's Daniel. The following is a clip from my interview with recording engineer Billy Bowers where he discusses working with Brian Johnson and ACDC. I did a separate ACDC interview with Mike Frazier, who's engineered and produced the band. That ACDC interview is over an hour long. If you want to see that interview, it's linked below. Here's the Billy Bowers clip on Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson, who's a funny guy, he just sings with the speaker sitting next to me or standing next to me.
Really?
So it'll be me and Brennan, and Brian will just stand there with a mic and hold it, and we'll have speakers just blasting, and Brian just starts yelling. He just starts screaming.
That's awesome.
And he was great at it.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. He just sings it, and that's all we do. It's pretty surprising how powerful he is, and we just literally just play music loud, and he starts singing and go do a couple takes, and then we go, all right, and that's kind of it's really straightforward. That part of it is kind of surprising. It's he doesn't really warm up. He just and if you've heard him talk, his voice is much lower. His voice is much lower, and then he just gets up there and starts really high, just you go, wow, okay.
That is amazing.
And it's just so interesting to hear him, like I said, because I'm saying screaming, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but that's his voice because like I said, when you hear him talk, it's so much lower, so he's way up there, but no, he's definitely singing it. He's definitely singing, hitting the pitches, and hitting the notes. So it's not just random screaming.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's definitely singing it way up there. It's like I said. I just sit there and look in amazement. Like, how are you doing that? Because then he talks to you, and his voice is down here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like Eddie Vedder, to me, it seems like it's kind of the inverse. Like his singing voice is very deep, but then when he talks, it's not as deep. Is that fair to say, or am I?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of the same, but yeah, I can hear what you're saying.
So the most recent record you guys did was Power Up, and when I listen, just as a fan, if I'm listening to Brian Johnson's voice on Power Up, it sounds just as strong as it did, let's say, on like Back in Black. In my opinion, he sounds great, even though it's like 40 years in between. Brian Johnson, I think he's 70 or something like close to that. Just as in general, does it surprise you at all that he still has that power when he's recording his vocals, or like?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it surprised me. It surprised me the first time. It was still just wow. Okay, I remember the first time when we went in, me and Brendan went in to record him, and on
Black Ice.
Black Ice, and we were like, well, okay, we don't really know what's going to happen here, and I've never heard him before, and don't really know what's going to happen. And, hold the mic, it's going to make him comfortable. Great. And we're in a little room, and he's standing up here. And we just, okay, let's try this. And he just started belting it out. And we just kind of look at each other. Like, whoa. Okay, I guess this is going to go fine.
That's awesome.
It was just, wow. Yeah. I'm surprised every time. Like, I'm surprised every time I'm standing there and he starts doing that. I'm like, how do you do that? He belts it out pretty fast right out of the gate, and that's it. That's the way we did it. That's the way we worked. Now, I don't know from personal experience, my understanding that there were times in the past where he did really long, drawn out vocal sessions and did not enjoy it at all. Right. And I don't think it works to his advantage. And I think that's what I'm saying is we kind of went in and on all of these, and he just starts belting it out, and he belt it out a few times. And if something's could be different, oh wait, why don't you do that a little different? Okay, great. And that's it. I mean, it's really, really straightforward. It does not take that long.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's not, and there's no point in doing it longer. It's okay, that was good. So I'm not going to make you stand here and scream for the next 3 hours. Why?
Yeah. Brian Johnson likes to hold the mic. Is that so? He doesn't like to have it on a stand. He'll actually physically hold it during the recording.
Yeah, he'll hold it. It's not really a handheld mic, but it's he likes to hold it. So we tape it all up so he can hold it. And,
Huh. Does that make it more complicated to record? Like, does it cause kind of like ambient noise or anything when he's holding it like that?
Not really. No, it's it's fine. Yeah, you get around it. Whatever. It's what you just want to get the best performance out of people and make them the most comfortable. People I work with are generally not about Brendan is generally not about like let's make the artist conform to our technical specifications.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you.
It's more like what's going to make you comfortable. How are you going to and that's why he'll just lay down a vocal in a couple takes and done, because you get it all comfortable. You get him all he's in a good spot.
That's awesome.
Saying no, you have to do it like this.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So I mean, like with Brian Johnson, is there a lot of takes you guys do, or is he like a 1-2 take kind of person, generally speaking?
He'll just generally just a couple, 2 or 3, and later you go, well, that part could be better. Okay, maybe you might do it again, but it's pretty straightforward.
That's cool. And is there a lot of overdubs or anything? Like, do you guys record the band and him particularly live, or do you guys usually do like the overdub kind of thing later?
I don't think he sang. No, he didn't sing with the band. They play together. So because generally what's going on is so it's usually me and Brendan and Angus, and we'll sit in a room and go over the songs, work it all out, make sure everything's good. I mean, it's those two doing it. I'm doing this, and it's Brendan and Angus going over the songs, working it out. And in the other room, Mike is recording the band, which I'm just on the sidelines of, helping out where I can, but that's not my part. And then when they get tracks together in the other room, I'm recording Brian singing. So he doesn't actually sing with the band, but the rest of the band plays.
That's cool.
But I'm not I'm not fully immersed in the part where the band's playing. That's Mike's department.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. When I'm listening to Brian Johnson's voice, is that heavily layered, or like what am I listening to exactly?
No, that's just him, and it's pretty. I'm trying to think if there's really not much going on there. That's just him. All the backgrounds and stuff you hear, they're obvious background vocals. You can hear them. There's not like a lot of doubling under it or anything. There's not any. That's just him singing, and there's a little bit of delay, and that's how it goes.
Interesting.
They're very, as they're very straightforward. So whatever you're hearing, you're kind of hearing. So like if you're hearing background vocals, you're hearing background vocals. That's everyone singing.
From a technical perspective, I've always been kind of curious about Brian Johnson in particular. Does he sing with like, I guess, quote unquote, proper technique? Because it sounds so harsh. Like, is he actually singing the way like an instructor would advise someone to sing, or is he kind of just going for it?
I have no idea. I don't know what proper technique is.
That's funny.
I mean, and that's his department. But like I said, he kind of sits around and he learns the songs or whatever. Okay, it's time for you to sing, and okay, just walks in and grabs the mic and starts doing it.
That's awesome, man.
The interesting thing about the ACDC tracks, just for me personally, is like all the songs would sound good, and you'd be like, yeah, this is great, and then they all came together different ways. Like just usually, everybody has their opinion. I have my opinion. We're working on things like, well, that's a good song, and that one's not as good or whatever. These are all like, okay. Then they would come together, and you'd be, oh wow, oh actually that one's really starting to sound great. And then at the end, it would be, maybe not the same ones you liked at the beginning. They weren't obvious hits to me. It was like when we first heard them and first started working on them, it wasn't obvious to me like, oh yeah, this is the big single, or whatever. That it was just, yeah, this is one of the songs, And then as it all comes together, oh, they start to come to life,
What is it that made you realize these are good songs now? Like, what was missing in terms of the construction of the track?
I don't know. It's just it's that way somewhat with every band, but to me personally, it just I was always a little bit surprised a few times by them, just because it's just the way the vocal comes together and the groove comes together, and you start hearing it all as one thing. It's very much a groove band. The power of the song is the band and the singing and everything all together, the groove of it. It's really when it all comes together, that's when you hear it and go, oh yeah, okay. Because it's a groove, situation, it's a whole feeling to everything. So
In that case, then, like when ACDC is in the studio, what is the process like then? Like, how do you guys start to like put the songs together? Do you record a certain instrument first? Do you guys do the live thing first and then the individual? Like, what is the process with an ACDC song?
They played all together, so just without singing. There was Brendan will help them out with cues, say, okay, here's the verse, okay, here's the chorus, instead of someone singing, because so you can follow along, where you're at,
Yeah.
But that's it. So the band just really plays together live.
When you're working with the band, what is the vibe like?
ACDC is it's really fun. Everyone just kind of hangs out, and we've all gotten to know each other, and everyone gets along. So it's just it's a very insular. We hang out usually. All the food's right there. We don't go out or anything. So
So for you personally, what is the most rewarding aspect of getting to work with ACDC? Like, what does it mean to you to have gotten to work with them?
oh man, I mean, literally one of my top favorite bands. And Malcolm Young was just such a huge influence on me as a guitar player, and just everything about them and just the feel of them. And so that was really a big deal. And it just how great they were to be around. So it's just it's like I said, I've worked with a lot of really great people, and but you learn after a while that sometimes the people that you really love are not the greatest people to be around.
I hear you, yeah.
And some people that you can't stand their work, you think, they're actually that's really good people.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of relationship there. It's like it could be either way. And so it was really nice that they were great people to be around and hang out with. So that the whole thing was really fulfilling. It's when we worked with Springsteen, did a few albums of Springsteen, and Nick DiDia was engineering all that time, and he was from New Jersey, and he's after we did one album, he was kind of like, well, okay, I think I can retire now. I'm done.
That's awesome.
And I kind of felt that way about ACDC. I was kind of like, if you had gone to me when I was younger or when I was a kid and like, you're going to do these ACDC albums, I couldn't think of anything better. Like what,
Yeah.
that was the ultimate for me. So it's great to be being around, you get to meet a lot of interesting musicians and famous people, but it's a job, and it's not usually overwhelming or anything. It's just kind of like, okay, this is what I'm used to or whatever. And it wasn't overwhelming with them. They're, like I said, they're really nice people, but it was really just great to have made ACDC albums and not screwed it up. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
that was my goal. Don't screw this up.